Pauloma Parva continued. Sati said, O Brahmana, Chayavana, the son of Brigu, begot a son in the womb of his wife Sukanya. And that son was the illustrious Pramati of resplendent energy. And Pramati begot in the womb of Gritachi a son called Ruru. And Ruru begot on his wife Pramadvara a son called Sunaka. And I shall relate to you in detail, O Brahmana, the entire history of Ruru of abundant energy. O listen to it then in full. Formerly there was a great rishi called Sthulakesa, possessed of ascetic power and learning and kindly disposed towards all creatures. At that time, O Brahmana sage, Viswavesu, the king of the Gandharvas, it is said, had intimacy with Menaka, the celestial dancing girl. And the Apsara Menaka, O thou of the Brigu race, when her time was come, brought forth an infant near the hermitage of Sthulakesa. And dropping the newborn infant on the banks of the river, O Brahmana Menaka, the Apsara, being destitute of pity and shame, went away. And the rishi, Sthulakesa, of great ascetic power, discovered the infant lying forsaken in a lonely part of the riverside. And he perceived that it was a female child, bright as the offspring of an immortal and blazing as it were with beauty. And the great Brahmana Sthulakesa, the first of Munis, seeing that female child, and filled with compassion, took it up and reared it. And the lovely child grew up in his holy habitation, the noble-minded and blessed Rishi Sthulakesa performing in due succession all the ceremonies beginning with that at birth as ordained by the divine law. And because she surpassed all of her sex in goodness, beauty, and every quality, the great Rishi called her by the name of Pramadvara. And the pious Ruru, having seen Pramadvara in the hermitage of Sthulakesa, became one whose heart was pierced by the god of love. And Ruru by means of his companions made his father Pramati, the son of Brigu, acquainted with his passion. And Pramati demanded her of the far-famed Sthulakesa for his son. And her foster father betrothed the virgin Pramadvara to Ruru, fixing the nuptials for the day when the star Vargadaivata, Purva Falguni, would be ascendant. Then within a few days of the time fixed for the nuptials, the beautiful virgin, while at play with companions of her own sex, her time having come, impelled by fate, trod upon a serpent which she did not perceive as it lay in coil. And the reptile, urged to execute the will of fate, violently darted its envenomed fangs into the body of the heedless maiden. And stung by that serpent, she instantly dropped senseless on the ground. Her color faded and all the graces of her person went off, and with disheveled hair she became a spectacle of woe to her companions and friends. And she who was so agreeable to behold, became on her death what was too painful to look at. And the girl of slender waist lying on the ground like one asleep being, overcome with the poison of the snake, once more became more beautiful than in life. And her foster father and the other holy ascetics who were there, all saw her lying motionless upon the ground with the splendor of a lotus. And then there came many noted Brahmanas filled with compassion, and they sat around her. And Swastiatriya, Mahajana, Kushika, Sankamekala, Adalaka, Katha, and Sweta of great renown, Bharadvaja, Konakatsya, Arshtashina, Gautama, Pramati and Pramati's son, Ruru, and other inhabitants of the forest, came there. And when they saw that maiden lying dead on the ground, overcome with the poison of the reptile that had bitten her, they all wept filled with compassion. But Ruru, mortified beyond measure, retired from the scene. So ends the 8th section of the Pauloma Parva of the Adi Parva of the blessed Mahabharata. Pauloma Parva continued. Sati said, while those illustrious Brahmanas were sitting around the dead body of Pramadvara, Ruru, sorely afflicted, retired into a deep wood and wept aloud. And overwhelmed with grief, he indulged in much piteous lamentation. And remembering his beloved Pramadvara, he gave vent to his sorrow in the following words. Alas! The delicate fair one that increaseth my affliction leath upon the bare ground. What can be more deplorable to us, her friends? If I have been charitable, if I have performed acts of penance, if I have ever revered my superiors, let the merit of these arts restore to life my beloved one. From my birth I have been controlling my passions, adhered to my vows, let the fair Pramadvara rise from the ground. And while Ruru was indulging in these lamentations for the loss of his bride, a messenger from heaven came to him in the forest and addressed him thus: The words thou utterest, O Ruru, in thy affliction are certainly ineffectual. For, O pious man, one belonging to this world whose days have run out can never come back to life. This poor child of a Gandharv and Apsara has had her days run out. Therefore, O child, thou shouldst not consign thy heart to sorrow. The great gods, however, have provided beforehand a means of her restoration to life. And if thou compliest with it, thou mayest receive back thy Pramadvara. And Ruru replied, O messenger of heaven, what is that which the gods have ordained? Tell me in full so that, on hearing, I may comply with it. It behoveth thee to deliver me from grief. And the celestial messenger said unto Ruru, Resign half of thy own life to thy bride, and then, O Ruru of the race of Bhrigu, thy Pramadvara shall rise from the ground. O best of celestial messengers, I most willingly offer a moiety of my own life in favor of my bride. Then let my beloved one rise up once more, in her dress and lovable form. Sati said. Then the king of Gandharvas, the father of Pramadvara, and the celestial messenger, both of excellent qualities, went to the god Dharma, the judge of the dead, and addressed him, saying, If it be thy will, O Dharmaraja, let the amiable Pramadvara, the betrothed wife of Ruru, now lying dead, rise up with a moiety of Ruru's life. And Dharmaraja answered, O messenger of the gods, if it be thy wish, let Pramadvara, the betrothed wife of Ruru, rise up endued with a moiety of Ruru's life. Sati continued, and when Dharmaraja had said so, that maiden of superior complexion, Pramadvara, endued with a moiety of Ruru's life, rose as from her slumber. This bestowal by Ruru of a moiety of his own span of life to resuscitate his bride, afterwards led, as it would be seen, to a curtailment of Ruru's life. And on an auspicious day their fathers gladly married them with due rites. And the couple passed their days, devoted to each other. And Ruru, having obtained such a wife, as is hard to be found, beautiful and bright as the filaments of the lotus, made a vow for the destruction of the serpent race. And whenever he saw a serpent he became filled with great wrath and always killed it with a weapon. One day, O Brahmana, Ruru entered an extensive forest, and there he saw an old serpent of the Dundabha species lying stretched on the ground. And Ruru thereupon lifted up in anger his staff, even like to the staff of death, for the purpose of killing it. Then the Dundabha, addressing Ruru, said, I have done thee no harm, O Brahmana. Then wherefore wilt thou slay me in anger? So ends the 9th section of the Bhishma Parva of the Adi Parva of the blessed Mahabharata.